Okay, I gotta make a mid-century modern bar cart. I'm making it for the Season 8 Builders Challenge, and I'm not sure I know what mid-century modern is. Whatever it is, they seem to like this chair with like the bendy joints a lot. Like this one keeps popping up. A lot of triangular shapes. So okay, triangles. There's a strange fascination going on with like boomerang type shapes and like curvy joints in general. One of the things my mom told me was that Sputnik was a big inspiration, so I guess Russian satellites. But even with all this great information, I just couldn't design anything that I was particularly crazy about. So I figured I would just start by milling up the wood I was going to use. So all I really know at this point is that I have a lot of walnut and I have some oak. So the frame is going to be walnut and then the tray bottoms are going to be oak. And I'm kind of just like messing around. I'm just experimenting with different shapes for the handle. I'm kind of spoiled in that sense because I have a lot of this black walnut just lying around. Now, if you only have a certain amount of materials, then you're going to want to spend a lot more time planning out each cut so you can make the most of what you have. Well, I kind of screwed that up a little bit. I did that, and I also don't, oh God. I mean, it looks good, but I don't think it looks very mid-century modern. Also, I kind of screwed that up. So I think I'm gonna do like a big old triangle that goes up. Like a big triangle. I need more triangles. There's too many squares and rectangles. To get that triangular shape, I'm just gonna use the super most ghettoest basic tapering jig, which is just a sled with some hold downs on there. So for the Builders Challenge, I entered the intermediate category, and one of the requirements is to use some traditional joinery. And I'm not super skilled or anything in that area, so I'm just sticking mostly to half laps, dados, and rabbit cuts. It's not going anywhere. When it comes to resawing the oak for the bottom of the tray, I can only cut 3 inches deep with my table saw. At that point, you would want to run it through a bandsaw. I don't have my bandsaw here in the shop yet, so I just used a chisel to pry it apart. And although this part is really satisfying, I wouldn't recommend doing it because the other side usually gets some tear out like this, and it's not a good look. It's not a big deal here. I could just flip it over and make that the bottom of the tray. But if this was going to be for a client or something like that, then I would want to finish up the cut with my bandsaw and then run them through my planer to get them nice and flat. Okay, so to fit the bottom in, there's a bunch of ways you can do it. I'm going to use my router and cut a slot like I did on this piece here. And then it'll just fit right in. Just teeny tiny, fit right in. Kind of screwed up again, but that's okay. Not gonna see that. Pretend I didn't show you that. Alright, so now when I put this together, it fits. See? Fits together. So if this is my cart, I've got enough oak to fill the inside of this. I don't have enough to fill a whole other tray on the bottom for this, so the bottom's are already going to be probably about half. So what I'm thinking is I'm thinking on the front I could cut out some notches, cut out some notches here, and do like a wine thing, you know? I don't know. I'm just gonna keep doing stuff. It's looking pretty good. It's not perfect, there's still like some seams you can see, but I don't have very many fancy tools, and you don't need fancy tools to make a fancy bar cart, so let's cut a little square angle here. So it's nice and square. Nice and square. Nice and square. And yeah, okay, I know, I'm using a Festool track saw.
You don't need fancy tools.
Because I found one at a garage sale. Check out your local garage sales, and maybe you'll find a cool, expensive tool like this. It's going to be hidden in this dado anyway, so, I mean, you could cut this with a handsaw. It's not going to matter. You know what? I'll cut it with a handsaw. I'll cut it with a handsaw just for you guys. And then we'll see. Then we'll see. For me, this is my favorite part of any project. Yeah. That feeling right there. That's what I'm talking about. Well, screwed it up. So if this is the bottom, there's wine bottles here, and this is the top. I feel like it would be better to have this piece be continuous. Right? Yeah. Oh no, did I? Shouldn't have cut that. I shouldn't have cut that. What the hell is that? Oh my god. I just realized I put this in here. Alright, so I keep screwing stuff up, but it's nothing catastrophic yet, so that's good. So I'm thinking if I cut into this 1/3 of the way on each side, I'll have a third in the middle, and then I can do an oak board over here and a walnut board over here. That way you can still like throw junk in there if you want, you know? What you doing? Give me the ball. We've got this beautiful leg. I'm really happy with it, and I'm terrified because now I have to cut it. When it comes to cutting this half lap, I get like one chance to do it right, and if it's off a little bit, then it's gonna screw up all this stuff. I can't push that in, you know? We want it to sit right there, right? But we can't. Boom, clamp that on there. So now essentially we have a stop block here, and I can just move this over, and that's exactly where it should be. Theoretically, that is stressful. This half lap joint is tight. Okay, now that the legs are done, all the half laps are cut into them, I just have to do a dry assembly of the entire cart and mark out where the other half of the half laps are going to go. So at this point in the build, that's really all you need. You can just throw wheels on it after you glue it up and call it done. But I was entering a competition and I kind of wanted to do some other things to make it stand out a little bit more. So I put it back together, just a dry assembly, and after taking a couple of minutes to just appreciate how impressed with myself I was. Then I could work on building the trays that were going to hold the wine bottles, which is the same process as building the top and bottom tray. It's basically just a drawer with some half holes drilled on the side. This is where you make really dumb mistakes. This is gluing this box up, and I almost forgot to put, I didn't put one of these in there. Take that out. There we go. So 2 of these trays are only being supported on either side by the half lap joints in the legs. So I need to make this little 3rd bracket here to support it in the back. And I figured I might as well give dovetails a try. Because it's my first time doing dovetails, I'm going to do it on the table saw. I've heard that's just the easiest way to do it. Very. Here. That is righteous, my dude. Look at that. I made that. That's pretty cool. Alright, moving on. Okay, so the trays are done. I just have to cut half laps in the sides of the trays and in the sides of the legs and that bracket that I just made with the dovetail. So typically a half lap joint is going to be plenty strong, but some of mine were a little sketchy. They had a couple of gaps here and there, so I decided to put some dowels through them as well. They were oak dowels, so you got a nice contrast, and you know, I just put them through pretty much all of them. Makes it look nice. At this point in the build, it is mere hours before I have to have this thing submitted. So my brothers came in and helped me with the glue up. It was a pretty intense glue up. Since we're going to be storing bottles of wine on this cart, I thought it made sense to have a place to store wine glasses. So I cut out these little Pizza Hut shaped rails on the table saw and I screwed them into the underside of the cart. You probably could use just dowels in this case and you'd be fine, but the screws gave me a little extra peace of mind. And even though you're not going to see it, I plugged them with some oak dowels. Alright guys, it is done. That was a long project. A lot of mistakes were made, and mistakes are good because it means you're learning. And I learned a lot. I think we nailed it. We got some Sputnik antennae, triangular shapes, kind of a boomerang. That's a curvy joint right there. It doesn't get more mid-century modern than that, based on my research. I submitted my bar cart into the intermediate category, and I didn't win, but I did get an honorable mention. I got into the top 5, which is really awesome. I'm actually really excited about that. I'll leave a link in the description in case you want to look at the other submissions or sign up for the next Builders Challenge. I'm super happy with all of the results. I'm mostly happy that I'm done with building it. Now I can do other things. Yeah, good stuff. Thanks for commenting, liking, and subscribing. I will be back soon with another thing.